Hi everybody, welcome back. It's day 19, Deep Inner Core. Yoga Pants and Plants. 30 Days of Compassionate Yoga is an invitation to journey toward being in the present moment, an opportunity to emulate the way nature lives in the moment. Be like a plant. Don't worry how you look. Notice how you sense and respond, like the way a tree reaches for the sun or a source of water. Nourish yourself with movement and stillness. Allow compassion to flourish for a little bit of time every day. Day 19, Deep Inner Core. The core muscles are usually discussed in yoga class as the muscles in the abdominal area. We'll explore more deeply with visualization and specific awareness practices. Start in mountain pose with a standing arch and flatten to find a steady, stable pelvis. The yoga philosophy of self-study invites us to discover more. Our deep inner core works to stabilize our spine and helps to maintain a neutral spine. Visualize the spine from the tailbone working upward. The inner core is the deepest layer of muscle that rings the spine like a donut. The top of this donut is the diaphragm, which is kind of like an umbrella in the rib cage. Take a few diaphragmatic breaths with your hands at the ribs. It is like the umbrella is opening and closing with each breath. Bring your hands further down where you would wear a belt if you were a superhero. This is the transverse abdominis muscle. The muscle fibers run across the body. Move the hands to the back and run your hands along the spine where the location of the multifidus muscles can be felt. To explore this, step 1 foot back with feet in separate tracks. Place your thumbs right next to the spine on the low back. Shift your weight forward and allow the back heel to come off the ground. You should feel the multifidus pop into your thumb as it contracts. Return the back foot to mountain pose and take 2 breaths. Step the other foot back, placing your thumb on both hands next to the spine. Shift your weight forward and allow the back heel to come off the ground and feel the muscle under your thumb. Return to mountain pose and drop to the ground for table pose. Bring a block or a blanket and place it under one knee. Raise the other knee to be even with the knee that is on the block or the blanket. Then extend the leg back and lift the opposite arm forward. This is a challenge for the multifidus and the transverse abdominal muscles. Return the knee to the floor and the hand back, and try that 3 more times on this side. Each time, returning the knee and arm to the ground. Remove the block or blanket, move it to the other knee. Raise the knee to be even. Extend the leg back and lift the opposite arm forward. Then return everything to the ground and repeat that 3 more times on this side. Each time returning everything to the ground before starting again. You can come back to a table position, moving the block or the blanket, and then move to finding a seat on the ground or in a chair. As we review the 4 areas that are involved in activating the deep inner core muscles, so far we have explored the breathing diaphragm, the multifidi, and the transverse abdominal muscles that run across the body rather than up and down. The final piece of the deep core muscles cannot necessarily be felt from the outside. The pelvic floor is often overlooked, but engaging in sensing and feeling this area of the body will provide profound awareness over time. The webbing of the muscles at the bottom of the pelvis is called the pelvic floor and can be felt with breathing through enhanced awareness. To make a mental map of the pelvic floor, place your hands in a diamond shape using the index finger and thumb and bring them together. The part where your 2 fingers meet represent the pubic bone. The place where the thumbs meet represent the tailbone. The 2 points where the thumb and the finger open are the sit bones of the pelvis. Think about those bony structures and then visualize a webbing of muscles that go front and back and side to side. The breath from the top of our core respiratory diaphragm comes down and reaches this area if you're taking full breaths. To visualize more mentally, think about the diamond we just made with our hands and trace the lines mentally. Pubic bone to sit bone to tailbone, tailbone to other sit bone, and sit bone to the pubic bone. Then mentally trace this again, this time with breath, to really get a sense of the strength and stability of this area. Pubic bone inhaling to sit bone, exhaling sit bone to tailbone, inhaling tailbone to the other sit bone, and exhaling sit bone to the pubic bone. Once again, pubic bone inhaling to sit bone, exhaling sit bone to tailbone, inhaling tailbone to the other sit bone, and exhaling sit bone to the pubic bone. This is a lot of mental work, and you're doing so well at staying focused on something that is usually beyond your awareness. So let's try an exploration called The Dance of the Diaphragms from the breathing book by Donna Fahri. That's on page 61. This will help you to recognize how breathing can become restricted and how you can correct your own breathing and holding patterns. Sit on the edge of a hard chair with your feet firmly on the ground. You can stay seated on the floor if you'd like. Take a moment and settle yourself and check in with your breathing. Because the diaphragm lies so deep within the body, it is not possible to feel it on the outside, but you can feel inferred movements of the diaphragm by placing your hands close to insertion points of the muscle. As the diaphragm moves up and down, you'll be able to feel the way it is moving the internal organs and the surface muscles if you place your hands on the upper portion of the belly just below the tip of the breastbone. This is where the diaphragm attaches. Feel the way the abdominal muscles spread and broaden as you inhale. Bring your awareness to the pelvic floor. Sense into the webbing on the inhalation. Notice the change in pressure of these parts against the chair. Notice how the more you relax the belly and the pelvic diaphragm, the more the thoracic diaphragm can move up and down. Now contract your abdomen and lift in and up. Exaggerate the point up of the abdomen as well, and lift the pelvic floor. As you hold these muscles in, notice how the breath is moving beneath your hands. Feel how the shape of the diaphragm has changed as you inhale. Can you feel how the diaphragm is unable to descend completely? Sense the way that the secondary respiratory muscles in the upper back, chest, neck, and shoulders are tensing as they take over the work of the diaphragm. How do you feel when you breathe like this? Gradually release the contraction. Allow the abdomen to be full and soft again. Notice how the central diaphragm immediately responds to the release of the pelvic floor. Now tighten the vocal diaphragm as you would if you were trying to hold back your feelings. Feel how the movement in the central diaphragm have changed. Do you feel how the diaphragm contracted, causing both the upward and downward motions to be smaller? Now release the vocal diaphragm and observe the movement change under your hands. Take a few moments and feel your breathing with both the pelvic and the vocal diaphragms relaxed. Sense the ease at which the diaphragm moves without any effort on your part. A good question to consider is whether either of these breath-holding patterns felt familiar to you. It's worth asking that because sometimes we're contracting those other areas of the body and we aren't aware of it. So if it feels familiar in this exercise, it brings awareness to your mind. Come to a standing position and sense and feel the inner core muscles as you stand. Bring your hands to the heart. Slide your hands up your midline. Float your hands down to the hip creases. Lift one leg and then the other. Fold forward to the parallel to the ground position. Release the spine like a string of pearls forward and then come back up. Once up, crease at the hips and bend the knees into a seated position called chair, bringing the hands to heart center. Take a few breaths and return to standing. This is called the sun breath, and we'll try it again. Sensing and feeling the deep core muscles in action. This time we'll add the breath. Start with hands in prayer. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to hip creases. Inhale, one leg up. Exhale, return the leg. Inhale the other leg up. Exhale, return the leg. Inhale forward, parallel to the ground. Exhale, release the spine like a string of pearls. Inhale, return the body to standing. Exhale, sit into the chair with hands at heart. Inhale and exhale 3 times in chair and return to standing on an inhale. We'll start again with hands in prayer. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to hip creases. Inhale, one leg up. Exhale, return the leg. Inhale, the other leg up. Exhale, return the leg. Inhale, forward to parallel to the ground. Exhale, release the spine like a string of pearls. Inhale, return the body to standing. Exhale, sit into chair with the hands at heart. Inhale and exhale 3 times in chair and return to standing on an inhale. Now you can lay down on your mat on your back. As you come onto the earth, allow your legs to either go long or place them in effortless rest. Become aware of the space, mentally tracing the outline of the body and sense and feel the body. Invite your awareness to shine like a flashlight from head to toe and ask yourself if you feel strong and mobile. Do you feel you can move easily throughout your day? Are there any places you are holding breath or tension? If so, notice and let go with ease and no judgment. Once you have a sense of how you are resting on the mat, add a pillow or a blanket under your knees and become aware of the respiratory diaphragm and rest your hands there. Sense and feel as you move into the arch. The tailbone is pressing into the earth, and think about how those muscles along the spine are turning on and then releasing to neutral and turning off. Arch again, returning to neutral, connecting this inner core awareness. Notice how this arch can grow up the spinal column and you can feel the muscles. Now allow the spinal column to flatten onto the earth and feel those spinal muscles lengthen. Place one hand on the respiratory diaphragm and the other on the pubic bone. See how they move closer together as you flatten the spine to the earth and how they return when you release to neutral. Then from neutral, move into arch. Feel the multifidus contract, then out of an arch back to neutral and back from neutral to flatten. Continue this movement, this handoff from arch to flatten, sensing and feeling the deep inner core in a new way today based on your ability to self-study and learn more about your body. Give yourself a foot press and feel the stability and soften. Find your body relax more and more on the ground using blankets or pillows, finding your way into stillness. Give gratitude for your structure, your core, your edges of mobility, your stability and strength. Resting in stillness more and more, release and luxuriate in deep, restful awareness. Allow your inner awareness to be stirred with gratitude. Gently rolling to one side, resting there in a fetal position. Observe the state of your mind. Observe the quality of your breath. Gently return to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center in gratitude. Namaste. Now, as you rise from your mat, don't forget to eat more plants. You will feel and move better. Follow us for tips at flowingyen.com.